Barricade's 3-inch bull bar that I have with me today includes light mounts and a skid plate for some extra protection, but it is still the most affordable bull bar currently available for your 04 to 08 equipped F150. Now you should be checking this out if you want some basic front end protection on the trail or even in the parking lot, as some customers have mentioned in reviews already. Now this is a direct bolt-on, so I'm giving this a very simple install. It's going to be 1 out of 3 wrenches on my patented difficulty meter. You should be able to tackle this in about 30 minutes with basic hand tools. Now, like I said, what's nice about this bar is the price. It is 3 inches in diameter like most bars, and even though it includes that skid plate, it is still the least expensive option available at around $130 at the moment. You are getting a nice black powder coat finish, which is better than a painted finish, but if you wanted something brighter, keep in mind we do sell this bar in a polished finish instead. Now, the bar itself is made of tubular stainless steel, so this will not flake out or rust on you over the years. It's definitely built to take some abuse, and it'll help protect your grille, your radiator, and your front bumper all in one. And like customer said, it'll definitely pay for itself after one of those fender benders. Now, what I like about this bull bar in particular is how high up it sits. It actually sits a lot higher than some of the other options we sell, so it will not affect your approach angles off-road. And it even includes some of those light mounting points like I mentioned, so you can wire up some auxiliary lighting like a 20-inch LED light bar. That'll definitely be a nice touch when you're on the trails or you're working on those back roads at night. Now, lastly, this bar does install very easily because it uses your factory tow hook mounts. If you wanted to retain your tow hooks, you should check out some of the other options on the page. We do offer them in an option that mounts other than in the original tow hook location, but they will generally cost a bit more. Now, with that said, again, this is a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches on my patented difficulty meter. With that in mind, we're going to go head over to the install bay and I can show you guys how to get this bolted on. All right, so we pulled our F-150 into the garage, and like I said, this is a very easy bolt-on job. You can get this done with basic hand tools. We're actually going to put our truck up on the lift to make it a little easier to show you what we're working with underneath there. First things first, if your truck is equipped with factory tow hooks, we need to get those out of the way. Now, our truck's tow hooks use 15mm bolts, so you're going to remove the 2 front bolts on either one. You're only going to loosen the back bolts, and then you can slide the factory tow hooks off of the mounting point on the frame itself. Loosening those rear 15mm bolts on the tow hooks can be difficult with air tools unless you have a swivel. We're going to keep things simple, and we're just going to use a hand wrench. All right, with your factory tow hooks removed and that 15mm bolt in the rear loosened, you can now slide on the new brackets for your Barricade bull bar. You're going to orient it in the direction where this plate is facing out towards the tire, and they are marked for passenger and driver side. All right, with both of those bolts reinstalled, you're going to drive them home with either your wrench or your air gun. All right, with those front bolts driven home all the way, your brackets should now be lined up and in the place they need to rest. Go ahead and retighten those rear 15mm bolts that we loosened earlier using your air gun with that swivel or your hand ratchet. All right, with your brackets tightened down, it's time to actually grab your bull bar and line it up with the brackets. You want the tabs on the bull bar to sit inside of the bracket itself. You can either have a friend help you by holding it in place, or if you're cool like us, you can go ahead and use a pull jack. To tighten the bull bar to the bracket, you're going to grab the supplied hardware. You're going to grab one of your 12mm bolts, one of the lock washers, one of the flat washers, and thread that through the mount and the bar. Then on the other side, you're going to grab another flat washer and one of the provided 12mm nuts, and you're going to hand tighten everything down. Grab your flat washer on the other side, followed by your 12mm nut. And remember, we're just hand tightening everything, that way we can realign and make sure our bull bar is in a good spot before we drive these home. All right, now your bull bar is technically installed and it's being supported by the truck. Again, you want to have either that friend with you who's willing to help, or in our case, our pull jack, We're gonna go ahead and adjust our bull bar, make sure it sits where we want it to, realign everything on those brackets, and we're gonna tighten everything down. All right, once you've lined up your bull bar, it's time to drive everything home. The bolts and nuts that we just hand tightened have 18mm heads on those, so you're gonna need an 18mm socket and an 18mm wrench to tighten these down. All right, with that hardware tightened down, that actually wraps up my review and install of Barricade's 3-inch gloss black bull bar fitting your 04 to 18 F-150. I'm Travis, thanks for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.